What's going on, guys? It's James with Project Black Beauty. Here I've got a tutorial video on how I built my flagpoles. This has been pretty highly requested, so yeah, here we go. And there will be a full parts list underneath in the description of this video. All right, so here's everything you're gonna need. Got a 3/16 drill bit. I recommend Cobalt bits. They're the best at going through steel. Then we've got a 1/4 drill bit. So you step it up, you start with your pilot hole, then incrementally go bigger. Then we've got a 1/4 drill bit. My Cobalt bit is broken, so this is a titanium. Here's a 3/8 drill bit right here. And then finally your 1/2. Your 1/2 drill bit is the final size, and I recommend actually boring out the hole a little bit, because what you're going to be using for your quick release mechanism is one of these 1/2 inch hitch pins here. So now moving along, we're going to go to tools. Obviously a drill, pretty standard when you need to drill metal, and then an angle grinder to either to cut parts of your pipe. You can use a Sawzall for cutting, or mainly just for sanding to keep your edges smooth, because you don't want to tear your flags. Whenever you're using an angle grinder and sanding metal, I definitely recommend using a face shield and work gloves just to keep yourself safe. Don't do what I do and wear flip-flops, but nothing's going to change that anyway. Now moving on to the tools you're going to need here. You're going to need obviously a ratchet for the installation. I just use a pretty standard 3/8 inch drive here. I mainly used my Milwaukee electric ratchet. It's one of my favorite tools I own. I use all 3/8 size hardware, which uses a 9/16 drive. Depending on the shape of your bed of your truck, you may need an extension here, then a 9/16 wrench, a set of needle nose pliers here for holding hardware. I use a Sharpie, a silver Sharpie, once I painted black, so that I can mark my pieces driver or passenger. The other one is marked. Then you're going to need 2 big washers for the inside of your ladder rack. That is 1 for each bolt, so 2 on each side. Then you're going to need 4 smaller washers on each side. 2, these are 3/8 inch bolts with, they're 3 inches long. They have a 16 point thread or offset or whatever it's called, coarse thread. Nylon lock nuts. These will help keep your flags in place, keep the poles from moving. Then yeah, like I said earlier, these 1/2 inch hitch pins, they just have one of these cotter pins, easy for the quick release mechanism. And then your flag, that's super important. You know, just one thing, always be respectful of the flag. Every time my flags are off, I fold them up. Or sometimes if I'm, using them a lot, I'll roll them up around the pole. But pretty much if they're off the pole, they're folded, and, take them down at night, take them down in bad weather. Just always want to be respectful of the flag. And then once you're done building everything, obviously you can paint it whatever color you want. I recommend just Rust-Oleum automotive enamel. I went with gloss black because, as you can see, that's what color my truck is painted. And then, painter's tape. And also, I use one of these triggers to make it more like a paint gun. It gives a better, more even spray. If you're really comfortable with a can of spray paint, just go for that. All right, so in addition to all of your hardware, you're going to need flagpoles, obviously. So what I used is actually a piece of gas pipe with some eye hooks, with cap nuts on the back to keep the flag from tearing, and then just some carabiners. So then we've got this here. I believe this was a 3-foot length when I bought it. No, it was not. This was originally a 4-foot length of pipe. I did have to trim some off the bottom. So, if you have to trim some, no big deal. But yeah, about a 4-foot piece of pipe. Then a cap on the top, and then just open end on the bottom. If you look here, when you have it installed, the bottom of the pole will just sit on this bolt right here, and then you've got your 2 cotter pins for the easy quick release mechanism. It's easy to take the flags off with the carabiners, and then, like I said before, the cap nuts on the back to keep the flag from the bolt from cutting the flag there. Another thing you're going to need is just a piece of square tubing. Let's see here. This is a This is a 1 1/4 inch diameter piece of square tubing. I think I bought it in like a 2 or 3 foot piece. And then this piece itself is roughly 9 inches long, as you can see there. I mean, it's been sanded, so I started with a 9-inch piece. Then for drilling through the flagpole, you're gonna start with just your 2 3/8 inch holes on the side, and then when this is installed, this will sit just like this right here on the inside of your bed. And then just your 2 3/8 inch holes through and through there, and then you're going to have your bigger 1/2 inch holes that you actually bore out a little bit just to make it easier. So you're going to have, most trucks will have one pre-installed hole in this little ladder rack compartment here. If I pull back my bed rug, yes, I know not all my 3M tape is still there. You can see the one stock hole that came with the truck there, and then you will have to drill one more 3/8 inch hole right here. Not a big deal. I mean, the bed wall, at least on this GMC, is steel, so just drill through that, and then you won't have any problems. And then if you have a bed liner, you'll just have to drill through it. If you have a bed rug like I do, I just cut it with a pocket knife, just cut a little slit, and then the bolts slide right through. All right, so now we're gonna do an end-to-end install right here to put the flagpole on the truck. This here is gonna be a quick release mount, so like I leave this on the whole summer, then the flagpole just comes in and out. So for starters, you're gonna need your 2 bolts for this side, and then you're gonna put a washer on each of them, just like that, right there. Then these are going to go right in here like this. Then as we come over here, these are just going to simply go through the holes that you've put in the side of your vehicle here, just like that. And then you get your washers here, your 2 other small washers, and your 2 big ones, and your needle nose pliers. And you're going to come over here, and you're going to start with the big one on the top bolt, because the one on the top bolt will end up having to overlap underneath the one on the bottom there. So then just put the one on the bottom end. This may take a couple of tries to get it lined up just right. There we go. Then you've got your 2 small washers here, one on the top, one on the bottom. There we go. And if you drop a washer, it's no big deal. What I recommend is just one of these magnets here. Super easy, can pick up things that you drop. Just a good tool to have for anything you're working on. So then now that you've got that, you need your 2 nylon lock nuts, and then you're gonna need your wrench. And I'm gonna be using my Milwaukee electric ratchet here and a 9/16 socket. Make sure that is set to tighten. You're gonna come over here. You're also gonna need your needle nose. Then I just leave the things that I'm using up here just to make it easier on myself. You're gonna start with one of your nylon lock nuts in your needle nose pliers, like so. Then you're just gonna hold this in the hole and line it up with the end of the bolt here. This is the most tedious part of the process, but then you just get it started like that. And there you got the first bolt there on the bottom piece. Always start with the bottom. That's gonna make it easier for you. Just because the more stuff you put above it, the harder it's gonna be to get to. Then the top one goes on much easier. You just get that one started. And here, as you can see, there are, you got the bolt started there on the end. And then you just get your wrench. You start with the bottom one. You put the wrench on there. Then you want to get that almost tight, then go up to the top one up here. And then go to where that's almost tight on top and bottom. Then, you know, you could use a level, or you could just look at it. I'm just gonna look at it. It appears to be level here. Then I'm gonna go back to the bottom one here. And then cinch this one down tight. And I'm gonna go back up to the top one here, and then do the same thing. Just like that. That appears to be level. So then now that I've tightened up the top one, I'm gonna go back down to the bottom one more time. Go as tight as it'll let me go. And then do just a few manual turns there just to keep this thing from wiggling. You want it to be really as tight as possible, just to, because obviously the holes in the top of the ladder rack are slightly bigger than your bolt size. So just to keep it from wiggling back and forth. If it does, it's not that big of a deal. They may tilt slightly back, but you can straighten it up, or, you know, find some other way to fill it, or just, you know, tighten it down. The nylon lock nuts keep the vibration from making things come loose. Then you just get your pole right here, drop it in there. These are freshly painted, so they will, you know, it'll maybe take a little more force to go in the first time than it will the second time. Then you just get your 2 1/2-inch cotter pins right here. This one. This process, the first time, because the paint will take a little bit of gentle encouragement, but it'll go much easier after that. Now here's a use for the magnet right here. There we go. Like I said, this will get easier with time. And then if you're still having trouble with it, you can come to the back side here, or I mean, you could get your drill and bore out these holes just a little more. I would recommend drilling through everything all at once, just because that will make it easier on you. Don't know why this isn't cooperating. Let's try to get this bottom one in first, then we'll go to the top here. There we go, bad going fishing there in the background. Alright, if it begins to be struggling, we're just going to put a black screen that says sometime later. You're going to have to just edit this part. This part where you drop the thing down the hole. No, that's a perfect reason why you should have your little, whatever it is. Holy crap, this is always done in no trouble. Of course, until I make a video. So the until I carry to it, 3 hours later. What kind of beat on it? Do that tape measure. That's not something? No, keep going. If they don't want to cooperate, I encourage the use of a small sledgehammer. This form of gentle encouragement makes almost anything do what you want it to. Go to your home. And now it's spun around the wrong way. There we go. And there we go. Then you just start with the bottom cotter pin here. Put that on there. Put this on there, and then you unfold your flag, just like so. Flip it on the top first to make sure There's no way it can touch the ground. This here is just a simple carabiner. There we go, for the little brass grommet. And I ordered my flags from American Flags Express. These are the ones that are suitable for really high winds. You can see here on the end, they have a lot of stitching reinforcement there. And this keeps the flag from tattering in high wind. So then, there you go. You've just built yourself a couple of flagpoles. They work really well. They're strong enough to even go on the interstate. I wouldn't advise going on the interstate just because that's not the best thing for a flag. They will tatter over time, but these last a long time. I've had these flags for over a year and they work great. Just to show you with a little less gentle encouragement how quick and easy these can come off. I'll use this pole. You can pull these two pins here, pull these two cotter pins here, boom, done. Comes out, you can roll it up, you can take off the flag, you can fold it, whatever you want to do. Put it back on, just like that. And show you how easy this should be. I'm not even able to see the holes right through. Boom, and boom. So I mean, that was literally maybe 15-20 seconds there. So yeah. All right, now we're gonna take it for a spin, show you how well these work.
It ain't the money, it ain't the fame. It's a couple hundred folks like me out there screaming my last name. It ain't the record sales, it's my voice in the whippoorwills. 200 years down a long dirt road where there used to be moonshine still. American made, professional grade. Yeah, I'm built for tough, ain't much yet I can't take. I got scars on my skin like my Chevy has dents, getting covered in mud every damn weekend. I'm 10 foot tall and American made.
All right, guys, so that's pretty much it. Just a disclaimer, these both just got painted as a part of my restoration for this season. So it's not, you saw on that one how easy it was to take it apart and put it back together for the quick release mechanism. This one, I actually had not put it together yet, so I hadn't worked through the new paint that I'd put on there. But after that, it gets super easy. If it does get too hard, just bore it out a little bit more with your 1/2-inch drill bit. No problem there. That could also just take off the paint. But these work great, easy to use, very secure. Y'all have a good one. Appreciate it.